And we'll stick with the Heat in this segment because, y'all know when your favorite TV show comes back from a long break, they like to catch you up on what happened before hiatus. We at The Jump are doing that, too, with some of the teams down here in Orlando. Oh, yes, friends, it is time for Previously on the Miami Heat. I know you thought you guys were going to compete this year, but be honest. Did you really think this team was that good?
You're really going to ask me if
Yes.
I really think a team that I'm on is that good?
Jimmy Butler's been waking up at 3 a.m. to work on his game in Miami.
Miami doesn't have a history of being outworked, so he fits right in with that culture.
Jimmy voluntarily taking a Cam Reddish elbow to the face to draw the call.
Not so much right
And
here.
somewhere Alonzo Mourning is nodding and smiling.
I love that. Jimmy Butler, he's a miniature version of myself.
Who is this kid? None on their team. Where did he come from?
A Heat fan asked Tyler Herro to sign a bucket because Derek Jones Jr. threw down another incredible dunk last
Come on,
night.
DJ. That kid, I'm sure he has a family at home. He has kids that are probably watching that game, man.
I think the way that they defended Giannis is a blueprint that a lot of coaches are going to be stealing from.
This is what Pat Riley envisioned, right?
Yep.
When he made those deals, he felt like, you know what, this thing can be had.
So a team, when people say this is a team of one star.
Who's that star, Bam?
Our organization is built on people being hard on each other.
Go to the locker room. Great game. Go to the locker, please. Baby, we got another one tomorrow. If I was their coach, I would never put him on me ever again. He's not even in my league, like nowhere near me. Put somebody else on me because I'm a Taz every time we go. He's trash.
It's like Olympic level trash talk from Jimmy Butler. If you're going to do something, do it at a high level. If we're talking Miami Heat basketball, we got to bring in our NBA sideline reporter, Miami native, who spent 10 years of his life covering that team, Jorge Sedano. Thank you so much for joining us. And guys, the Heat have become contenders with Jimmy Butler coming down there. But George, one of the question marks surrounding this team is who could be the second scorer behind him? Who is that guy for you?
Well, number one, it's clearly Bam, I think, and just the way he's just developed his game on a number of different fronts, Rachel. His awareness, number one, the way they use him in the offense, that high pick and roll where the dribble handoff, whether he can decide to hand it off to a shooter, as you see there with Duncan Robinson, or he can find someone cutting to the basket, or he could take it himself and create at the rim. But number two, I would give Goran Dragic that nod because he's their number one guy off the bench, their sixth man. And number three, I'm going to go a little off the board, Tyler Herro, third most fourth quarter points for the Heat this season behind Butler and Dragic.
I have to follow you with that, George. You're right on time with that. I mean, I think Bam really came out this season and proved that he's the second best player on this team. He was an all-star. He's probably going to be looked at as one of the most improved players, but I think it's what he's been doing on the defensive end. He's been an anchor for them to be a good defensive team and to own the paint, and that's why we're seeing the Miami Heat play as well as they are playing. We've known for years that the Miami Heat is going to outwork any competitor out there, but I think for Bam Adebayo, this season has been a great season for him to break out.
No, Scotty's right, but this is one thing that I need to say. We're talking about winning championships here. Like my thing about this Miami Heat team is that they are super talented. They are very, very deep. I love their versatility and I love their youth. Do I think that they can make it to a conference finals? Yes. Do I think that they would be a super sleeper for the NBA finals? But there is no way that this team has enough to win a championship. It's just not there. It's not a reality. Boston, in my opinion, has a better team. Milwaukee has a better team. The Lakers have a better team. The Clippers. Now, in a year, in 2 years, let's say this, when Herro and these young players have developed now too, then I could put them in the 1 or 2 category or the ability to win a championship. But this year, even with Jimmy Butler's leadership and the growth of their young players, I just feel that they're either one legit scorer away or the development of 2 to 3 of those younger players to get to that next tier before they're a championship contender.
Well, Richard, you saying that they are a sleeper to be in the finals and that you see them in the Eastern Conference Finals, that's still way ahead of schedule of what people were predicting for them this offseason. Scotty, are you there with Richard? Do you think that the Heat are ready to challenge in the East this season, not next season or in the future, but they could be in an Eastern Conference Finals and maybe even win it this year?
I think this is a season for him. I think just based on how, and I don't want to say how weak the East is, but based on how the teams are constructed in the East, I think Miami Heat is constructed well enough, and who I would consider the top team is the Milwaukee Bucks. They're constructed well enough to be able to compete with that team because they have players on that team who has an answer for a guy like Giannis.
Rachel, I think that Richard's right. Like, I don't see them as a championship level team, but to your point, they're way ahead of schedule. And they're not fearful of any team in the East right now. They look at a team like the Bucks, where they've had a lot of success, at least in the regular season, against them. They've defended Giannis as well as anyone. Bam specifically. Giannis is only shooting 35% in 23 attempts against Bam Adebayo. They've added Andre Iguodala. They've added Jay Crowder. They have Jimmy Butler. They have guys that they can throw at Giannis particularly. They feel confident, regardless of who they face, that they have the depth and they've got the continuity to make this thing work and potentially get through the East.
Well, I'm not sure I'm ready to go that far. I just think that, Milwaukee has had that stranglehold, so someone's got to knock them off before I'm willing to give anyone else that crown. But I will say Bam Adebayo is so impressive, both ends of the floor. And then he also he spent some time with us on the jump. He has that great leadership star quality. For a young guy, he's just so self-possessed, and he's the kind of guy that other teammates want to play for. They've already got another one of those in Jimmy Butler. The chemistry there is great, and I feel like these guys are particularly going to thrive in the bubble, right? This guy is not a team that's afraid of work. They're not afraid of being away from home. They seem suited to this environment. I'm really, really excited to watch and how they challenge the rest of the East through these playoffs. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.